this now. Het-Heru Nefer. Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. This is Kasant Ma'akaparu with another exciting broadcast for you. And today we're going to talk about how to stop the reincarnation cycle. That's right. Some of us don't actually want to come back to Earth. We want to stay in the inner planes. It's very peaceful there. It's nirvana. All right. And excuse me while I'm eating, because I just had a bunch of pills. And if I don't eat something, I will get nauseous because I always take too many pills. If you take them on an empty stomach, you know what will happen. You will hurl them out. That Haruka force energy will push them out. And I don't want that to happen. So, all right. Now I'm just waiting for all my magicians to come into the chat room. Heru Nefer JD, Heru Nefer D. Got an interesting show for you, man. Heru Nefer Tia. We're gonna get down. I'm gonna start talking about some really deep stuff about what happens to you after you die. You know what I'm saying? How do I know? Because I've died many times. I've come back. Okay. All right. Now, before we start the show, please, all my magicians, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're new, please subscribe to my channel. Hit that little bell to get notifications of when we go live. YouTube will let you know when the broadcast is live if you hit that bell. And don't forget to get the Osiris report. We're back up with that. After a vicious cyber attack, I was able to go to my IT people. They were able to fix it. Heru Nefer Zai, Heru Nefer Aset Ma'at. Now, you guys know I'm very much into accelerated learning. There are certain individuals out there who I won't mention their names because you notice my broadcast, I refrain from attacking anybody personally, but there's a lot of people who are arguing, going back and forth on YouTube, social media, and they are members of what we call as the conscious community. And some of them are very brilliant individuals, but I don't understand how they don't get the one important aspect, which is spirituality. And you should do unto others as they do, you would want them to do unto you. Right? That's how the saying goes. But anyway, there's a lot of talk in that circle about, starting schools and stuff. And the priesthood that I was in, they had their own school. But let me just tell you this. Whether you should put your child in a public school, private school, homeschool, what have you. It doesn't matter if you're still teaching them from the Greek left brain perspective. It doesn't work because that system has proved to be a monumental failure. The universities are a failure. You go to university and you pay all this money and you come out in debt, and then you're trying to resolve the debt while getting an education. And the fact of the matter is, the education system is a programming miseducation system because they've broken subject up into separate disciplines. The ancient Egyptians, Kemetic people, never separated subject matter. In fact, they combined everything and tried to see the world in a holistic perspective. It was right brain congregated thinking. So everything to them was analogous. So, for example, water was analogous to steam. Okay. The sun was analogous to a baby being born, okay? And when you have these analogies, these associations, it's easier then to learn because you have a unified field principle, a field theory of how everything coexists into an ecosystem. Heru Nefer, Mike. All right. Okay. So if you want to start down this journey and understanding of how you can learn more about accelerated learning and teach your children or even teach yourself, there are a couple of good books that you should get. One is called Super Learning. This is one of my favorite books. This book is actually phenomenal, man. It says, remember almost anything you see or hear, master sports skills with incredible ease, solve problems while you sleep, raise your grades and shorten your study hours, learn languages with lightning speed, turn your children into super learners, improve your health, reduce aches and pains, succeed at anything you do with powerful new skills that can help make you the right decisions. Okay, and much more. The next one is the Einstein factor. which is a really good book. I've had this book for a long time, read it several times, you know. And this one goes over a number of approaches to accelerated learning. So I would get those two books. They're very, very helpful. But like I said, if we continue this process of left brain thinking derived from ancient Greek culture, we're going to be doomed. And we're already doomed. We're not really learning, because learning comes from within. It's an intuitive skill. And if you're going to, and the real way, like, to learn is to, for example, there is the Book of Thoth, or the Emerald Tablets, the Book of Tahuti, which is located in certain psychic gateways. So to access those gateways, you got to have the right mantra. And if you are able to recite the right mantra, the gateways will open and give you incredible wisdom and knowledge, you know? And that's how we store things, like in the Akashic Records, in the Emerald Tablets. But, you know, this left brain society thinks everything should be written down in a book. And that's asinine. You know what I mean? Not that something should be written down in a book. There's a place for that. But the idea is that when you sit in a classroom and there's someone at the head of the classroom who is just teaching you, that is learning by secondhand. You're not really experiencing that which you're learning about. You're just being told what to think, but you're not being told how to think, or the process of learning. Like, for example, I know I learn best through tactile learning. That means touching, interacting. Like, many times, and I know a lot of my bosses, when I used to do consulting, they would hate this, right? But when we have conferences, or when we have our town halls or whatever, and the company would introduce new processes and procedures, I would be the first one asking questions. I don't care. I would ask question after question. The first thing I would do, I would look at the overall subject matter and question that, and then take a deep dive into the minutia, the details, and question that. And the reason why I was doing that is because my brain needed to process the information they were providing in a certain way, okay? My brain cannot process the information you're providing just by auditory skills. Just because you say it, my brain doesn't care. My brain's like, okay, so what? You said that. Doesn't mean anything. I got to process it in the correct way. So what my brain will do is ask many, many questions so it can find a way to align with what their teachings are. Now, we know there's tactile, auditory, kinesthetic, you know, many different ways of learning. There's also the Myers-Briggs type indicators, which are very good, which talks about how you process information. But we have a dumbass school system that throws you in and treats you like everyone else, treats you as a digit, a binary code. You either 1 or you 0, and that's how they teach you. And I had a lot of problems in college. And the problem that I had was I really knew right away when I went to college that these were idiots I was learning from. Seriously, idiots. And I didn't do well at all. And I actually thought it was myself. But then when I realized, I left and I thought not only was I brilliant, but I was very pretty. And that's what they were jealous of me because I was so attractive. Okay, I'm just kidding. That's the Het-Heru in me. But no, I left school and I was like, I'm not coming back here. And that's when I met my the master Magi, the king. He's a king. Yes, he is a king from Africa. And he took me under his wing and he started to teach me. And I realized, and he was also into accelerated learning. And I realized, you know what? I wasn't stupid after all. I was learning from a bunch of idiots, you know? And not only were they idiots, they're very racist because they come with a preconception of minority people. They already think you're slow, you know, when they see you. They can't help because they're programmed by society. It's social engineering, you know? So they treat you, they demean you and treat you small, you know? They talk down to you. And I knew, I said, listen, I'm brilliant if you're able to teach me in the right way. And if you are African-American male, a Latino male, then if you're asking questions, then they think you are being difficult. They really do. All right, you're being difficult. Why are you asking so many questions? No, I'm not being difficult. I'm trying to understand what you're saying because I'm not getting it the way you're presenting it. You know what I mean? Especially in subjects like math. I was like, no. And many times they teach you some math that you'll never use in life. So it's kind of stupid there too, where the ancient Kemetic people taught you math that related across a variety of subjects. Okay? A set. You're absolutely right. We just do a number regurgitating. That's all we're doing, just regurgitating information. And it pains me. I remember one time I saw this girl, And I asked her a question. And the first thing she said to me was, what did she say? You're street harassing me. I said, I'm street. Oh, you learned a new term. That's interesting. Street harassing. So you white privileged girl, how can I be street harassing you when people of melanin complexion, especially males, can die just from walking to here to the bodega? You know what I mean? How's that? You know, I'm like, how can I be street harassing you when minority males are more likely to be arrested, shot down in the police than a white girl? And we've even proven that by what happened recently with the Starbucks incident, where these two African-American males were just sitting in Starbucks for 2 minutes now, 2 minutes, and the stupid woman calls the police and have these two African-Americans arrested when this white male stands up there and says, what were they doing wrong? They weren't doing anything wrong. And the one that actually videotaped it through her phone was a white female who said, you know, I came here the other day and I was sitting here for an hour, didn't even order anything, and they didn't call the police on me. So you have people out there, we live in a society that just regurgitate stuff, fills your mind with things, and you just believe it, just like 9/11. We just believe it. Oh yeah, Tower 7, Building 7 fell by itself, but no one questions that. The news media doesn't really do investigative reporting, but no one questions that. You know, what the news media does is just report on what they're told to report, and they all say the exact same thing from the exact same playbook. That's been proven. You can Google that and see it. They all have the same script. Even though you think they're different stations, they're all regurgitating the same information. All right? So we are zombies. I said we are zombies. That's the whole analogy of what the zombie, the whole thing about what zombies are and why they're so popular in motion pictures and TV shows, is because that is what the ruling elite wants us to become. So the ruling elite, these idiots of the conspiracy theory arena, they're stupid, all right? Because they're always thinking through left brain. They're thinking that there's going to be an actual militarized new world order. I said, no, there's not going to be a new world order, and you guys are stupid anyway, because this whole new world that we're moving to is already existing. We lost the battle. We have lost. We are living in George Orwell's 1984. We're living in August Huxley's A Brave New World. It's already here, by the mere fact that we can't think any way other than the left brain. The only thing that the ruling elite, the oligarchy, or cacostocracy, I can't pronounce that right. The only thing that they're doing is they're just moving to the next phase. We lost the war. We lost the war when they invaded and colonized third world countries that had ancient knowledge and ancient existence, just like the Library of Alexandria when they burned it down. We lost back then. So don't think we're headed to a new world order, a militarized new world order. We're not headed for that. What the ruling elite wants to do is to create machines. So what they're trying to do is they're using mainstream media, radio frequencies, towers to get you to fight for your own imprisonment, to make you so mentally ill and sick that you will actually advocate for your own subjugation. And you're doing that right now. We're doing that right now. Because when you can see a building fall by itself and not question it, when you can see point blank that the education system is crap, but not say anything, when you can see that you have a president sitting in office who's a nincompoop, then you know what I'm saying? We lost already, you know? But the thing that I say is life is still beautiful, because the thing that you should always be pursuing is your own spiritual enlightenment, apart from whatever's going on in the fourth dimensional realm. Don't worry about it. Just pursue your spiritual enlightenment. And when you start to ascend to fifth dimensional ascension, you will gain power to change your reality and shift to an alternate parallel reality where you don't have to deal with this bullshit. Now, this takes me to the subject matter at hand, dealing with the bullshit. I'm tired of being reincarnated and coming here and dealing with this bullshit. You know what I mean? When you are in the inner planes, you're in nirvana, you're in peace, you're in the amen. And it's the most wonderful feeling in the world. Unfortunately, our souls are reincarnated and have to come back to this plane over and over again. If you are here listening to my broadcast, you've been to this planet at least 100 times, at least 100 times. You don't remember it because your memory gets wiped out each time you come here. You know what I'm saying? So hold on one sec. My bad. Okay. Trying to record this broadcast. I am live. Okay. Yes, you have been here at least 100 times, perhaps even thousands of times, learning and learning and learning, repeating and dealing with your personal karma. Okay, I'm gonna talk a little bit about that and what that really is about, because that relates to my mother. Okay, and she schools me very, very well on karma and truth and justice. If I don't listen, she'll hit me over the head and get me straight. You know what I mean? She always does that. Then I cry and I cry and I go to Het-Heru, and Het-Heru hugs me and gives me sweet kisses, and then I feel better. The cycle of my life. I'm still a child, and I'm not kidding with that. I'm still a child. I'm still learning. I'm still really learning about all this stuff. But the one thing I do know is, like, I'm sick of this game. So, yo, peep this, all right? The ruling elite can control time and space. I've told these people in the conspiracy theory arena, you can't defeat them. Not only do they have access to superior technology like lasers and all this stuff, but they control time and space. So they know what the future is about. They have designed the present now moment so that the future is conducive to what they want. And we're going toward that future, meaning that they have a future that they've envisioned, and they know that by giving us certain post-hypnotic keywords, because we're living in a trance state, a trance reality, that we will work and manifest the reality that they want. Let's say, for example, here's an example. If I keep pumping out Star Wars films, that will affect your subconscious mind so that everything that we do is toward manifesting a type of Star Wars future, all right? Same thing with The Walking Dead. If I keep pumping out films like that, and to your psyche, because remember, you are a reality generating machine, you're going to manifest that future reality. And the future is not set in stone. There's many different possibilities depending upon what is the dominant emotion of the masses at the time, because we are subject to the MCA, the Mass Collective Agreement. That means if we all agree, so shall it be. The Bible says that two or more agree, so shall it be. That is the power. That is the connection of Ma'at. Study the mesquite monkeys, the Japanese mesquite monkeys, the 100 monkey principle. That when a certain consensus of thought reaches a tipping point, a number of people, like 100 people, then they manifest that reality. Okay? That's how God set it up. That is the protection of spiritual power. You have the power to manifest a certain reality, but you cannot do it alone. You must agree with other people that that's the reality you want, and then you can manifest it. Okay? The ruling elite know this. This is why they're constantly giving you symbols, subliminal messages, so you can manifest. You can manifest a reality. Okay, you follow me? Mike, Hitler was a master magi. He's a magician. Okay, evil, dark magician. So, psychopath. But a lot of the individuals who are ruling the planet are psychopaths, and we don't understand that. So let's get down to the brass tacks here, okay? So when you pass on, okay, you go before what the Egyptians called the judgment scene. And this is where the Christians get Judgment Day and all that stuff from. But they won't admit it, because they plagiarized the religion of Asar Set. They've even plagiarized the religion of the Coptic Church, because the first Christian church was the Coptic Church, okay? And all of this was rewritten by the Roman Emperor Constantine in 325 AD during the Conference of Nicaea. So research that. So anyway, when you pass on, you go before the judgment scene. And this is what we call the weighing of the heart. And this is where your heart is weighed against a feather. Ma'at, my mother, weighs your heart against a feather, okay? And then you have Sebek, who is there, who's inspecting the scales, because Sebek is very good with details to make sure everything is legit, okay? And then you have Asar, who is the great judge, and he's sitting there and judging you. And you also have jury and all that. And then you have my friend, Amit. Amit is the demon goddess. So here's the deal. She looks like a dog with a wolf head or something like that, very vicious. But her and I are tight. Every time I go before the judgment scene, I slip her like $20 or some steak, and we're cool. Anyway, so the judgment scene is that once you go there, you're supposed to recite the 42 negative confessions of Ma'at. I have not stolen. I have not coveted thy neighbor's wife. Sound familiar? I have not done dubious things. I have not gossiped, you know. So you recite these 42 negative confessions, and then your heart is weighed against the feather, and your heart must weigh lighter than Ma'at's feather. And the symbolization there is that you are lighthearted. That means that you have not taken anything to heart. You have not taken anything serious the way you're heavy-hearted. You know how you have people with negative emotions and anger, and it just weighs them down. Their energy is just so heavy. So anyway, once you go before that judgment, if your heart weighs heavier than that feather, then Amit, A-M-M-I-T, the demon goddess, the soul devourer, will devour your soul, and then you got some problems. You know what I mean? But if your heart weighs lighter than the feather, meaning you've gone through life very lighthearted, and I'll get deeper into what that means, then you will be allowed to move on. So what happens at that point is you make a soul contract. You go before Tahuti, or sometimes called Jehuti, or Thoth, and Thoth will say, okay, so you did good, your heart weighed lighter than a feather, I'm going to send you back to earth, and because you've done this in your past life, here's the karmatic debt that you must pay. And so that means you're going to live this kind of life. You're going to be poor, but you're going to learn to love in spite of not having material possessions. So then you're magically transported and you're reborn into a new baby, cute little baby. And you go through your life being poor, and you don't remember because your memory is wiped of the soul contract that you made. Okay, and that's what happens. And then you'll go through life wondering, why am I poor? Not realizing that you made a pre-life agreement, a soul contract to be poor. Okay. So what was me? Why am I poor? You're paying off a karma debt. Okay, that's what it is. Now, karma is not good or bad. All right. Let me give an example, because this karma thing is important, and Ma wanted me to explain this to you very carefully. All right. So let's say, for example, my last life. This is a very rough example. I was a doctor who was involved in a lot of malpractice and got a lot of people sick, right? Well, I passed on, I died, I made a pre-life agreement. So when I came back to my next life, I contract some very strange disease where every 6 months I get very, very sick. I throw up, break out in hives, I have seizures. It lasts about 30 days, and I'm fine until the next 6 months, and it repeats itself to the rest of my life. Now, doctors are mystified as to why this is happening, okay? But finally, they diagnose it, and they say, you know, Kasanka, you're going to have this for the rest of your life. There's nothing we can do. We can, mitigate it by controlling the symptoms, but there's nothing we can really do. So the deal is this, right? I may not understand why I'm going through that, because I don't understand what my past life was about. Not realizing I'm paying off a karmatic debt for what I did in a previous life as a doctor and my malpractice, okay? Now, this is not meant to be punishment. No, it's not. It's not about right and wrong, because those things don't exist in the fifth dimension. Right and wrong are only subjugated to left brain space-time, okay? So what I'm saying is, in this fourth dimensional reality, or erroneously what we term a reality, this is where the concept of right and wrong exists. It doesn't exist in the higher planes of existence, okay? Because when you're in fifth dimension, all things are one, and you experience all things simultaneously. So you cannot oppose yourself. So if you cannot oppose yourself, then nothing is truly right or wrong. Everything is just one, okay? So anyway, karma is not meant as a punishment. It is just meant for you to experience a different perspective so that your oversoul can understand itself and relate that information to source. So you are here just for the experience, and that is the only thing that's real, is the experience, okay? So don't think that you're here and the things you're going through are punishment for something you did in a previous lifetime. Yes, it is because of what you did in a previous lifetime that has set you up to experience something in this lifetime, but you are not being punished, because the supreme axiom or principle of life is love. God loves you. So God's not going to punish you, as which you'll find in the Christian Bible or the Islamic Bible, which is just very primitive and sick in its perspective, because it teaches you about a God that is vengeful and jealous. Okay. Now, okay, Het-Heru, Sinalu, you said crazy. Some of us have been trapped in the reincarnation cycle longer than the existence of even the universe. That's how stuck one can be. You can be very stuck in the reincarnation cycle, being just a cycle over and over again. And now the reason that you're stuck is not because of karma. It is because the ruling elite does not give you, when you're born, does not create a society that's spiritually elevated. Because if you were in a society that was spiritually elevated, you would go before an oracle reading to determine what your past life was about and what your destiny or your soul contract is for this lifetime. And with that in mind, you can work toward coming to the realization of who you are, which is God, man, God, woman, and paying off your karmatic debt. And if you pay that off, then you don't keep recycling. But the ruling elite, as I said before, they control time and space. So there is a particular future that they want us to work toward and manifest. So they wipe you clean of understanding of your soul contract. And because you have no understanding or knowledge of your soul contract, then you just keep repeating the same mistakes of your past lifetime, going before the judgment scene, your heart being weighed, and you keep getting reincarnated. All right. This is where they want us to be. This is why when you look at modern music, it's all about frequency and how they play the especially in the hip hop music, the beats are so earthy. They're hard beats to keep you grounded in this density, this reality. And what I mean by that is the rap music is all about material acquisition of women, money, and power. And that's an evil thing. And when you start to, when your energy vibration focuses on that and you go before the judgment scene, then your soul gets devoured by Amit. And then you keep reincarnating, However, when you go to, you start at 32 hertz and you go to the higher frequencies, then you become more of an enlightened being. And then you stop reincarnating. And then you have the choice of whether you want to reincarnate or stay in the inner planes. And those of us who are here have made the decision that, yes, we want to be here to help souls cross over, to help souls elevate so they won't keep getting reincarnated. Okay? Now, there is a belief in the New Age movement that we are being governed by evil interdimensional beings. Now, let me explain what this means. So what we're saying is that the soul contract of a pre-life agreement is a dubious agreement. It is a trap. So let's put it this way. When you pass on, you'll see the light. And in this light is full of warmth and love. And you feel like you want to go toward it. And if you don't go toward it, then you're going to see a loved one who's going to come to you and say, come with me, and guide you into the light. Or you may see a manifestation of your deepest beliefs, such as Jesus or Yahweh or Buddha or Muhammad or Osir, and they will appear to you and say, I will guide you into the light. Now, according to those in the New Age movement, that this is a trap, because if you go into that light, your soul will be reincarnated. So you don't want to go into that light. All right. And so when you go before the judgment scene, the one thing that you want to do is you don't want to agree to any contract, agree to anything. So if you go before Tahuti and Tahuti says, well, I'm going to send you back into this lifetime and you're going to be a coal miner, and you're going to have 3 kids, and you're going to work, and you're going to have a dog, and you're going to work in this coal mine in Kentucky, and so on. And the thing that you want to do is you want to say, no, I don't agree to this. Because if you agree to this, then your soul is reincarnated. So you have to say, no, I don't agree to this. I want to stay here and experience my highest enlightenment. That's what you want to do. Now, let me just take a step back. There are many divisions to your spirit. And I love the ancient Egyptian religion because they have broken down the different aspects of your spirit. But the 2 main things you need to think about is your spirit is divided into the Ka and the Ba. Now, the Ba, first we'll deal with that, is like your personality. And it's symbolized by the Egyptian, there's a hieroglyphic of a bird, and the bird has a person's head on it. That is the Ba. And your Ba flies off, And that is the essence of what makes you unique, your personality. And then there's the Ka, the Ka. The Ka is your life force, your energy. Because we each have an energy, a life force, a chi. Okay? So that's the Ba and the Ka. Now, we can break that down further because there are many different divisions of your spirit, you know, that you need to be aware of. So let me break it down for you. And this is going from the highest level to the lowest level, all right? There is the Ba, there is the Ku, K-H-U, there is the Shechem. The Shechem is a person of great power, Shechem. So we would call the Pharaoh or the king the Shechem. There is the Ab. The Ab is the Egyptian word for heart. There is the Sahu. You heard me talk a lot about the Sahu, S-A-H-U. That's the animal spirit within you. There is the Kab, the K-H-A-B, which is the lowest aspect, one of the lowest aspects, which is the animal aspect. And there's the Kahabit, and that's the K-H-A-B-I-T. That's the animal spirit. And you're going to a level of density there. The majority of the people in the world are operating at the Sahu level and the Kahabit level. Now, when those of us go before the judgment scene and our hearts weigh lighter than a feather, and we come back to this fourth dimensional plane as sages to guide people and help people transcend, we are operating at the Shechem level. Okay, Shechem meaning great power, and we would often call the king the Shechem or Shechem, Shechem or Shechem. That's the S-H-E-K-E-M. Second word, you are Shechemer. Okay, great power, great power. Okay. Now, so I just went over and talked a little bit about what the New Age individuals believe is that these interdimensional beings are getting you to recycle your soul, and we can interchange our interdimensional beings with the ruling elite because they are masters of understanding how to trap your soul. Okay. So, and they want you to reincarnate. So they're getting you to keep reincarnating by tying you to material things. Okay. So the New Age people believe that, you know, once you pass on, you see this light, and then you'll see an ancestor or Jesus or Sarah guide you into light, and you don't want to go into the light, and you don't want to make an agreement, because if you make agreement, you're bound by that agreement, and they would trick you in every way, shape, or form to get you to make an agreement. They'll say, well, you know, we can make you rich in this next lifetime, and you'll have lots of handsome men around you or pretty women, and you go through a life that's of ease. And if you go, yeah, so then you've agreed to that, and you'll keep recycling. Now, here's what that's the theory of the New Age people, and that's not a theory I buy into. Okay, but until we can explore this better, we need to take a little bit from that what we can gather. So here's what I think you need to do. You know, as a person who's been there and back. You know, all right. The idea is that you are existing in this corrupt world, and it's designed this way by the cabal to keep you reincarnating. As a enlightened being, which is really who you are, you are God, man, God, woman, but your memory has been wiped of your past lifetime and your true inheritance. You become conditioned by or programmed by the things around you, and you pick up what we call as likes and dislikes. So Tahuti tells us that no thing has a quality in and of itself. It's only your personal perspective that assigns it a quality and a value. So I may think that this is delicious, you know, where you may say, what is this? Is this blue or green? Gook? What is it? I don't like that. Tastes awful. Okay. So objectively, it really has no value. People have often asked, well, what is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is meaningless. You're only assigning a meaning to it based on your perspective. Okay. Now, the goal of life is this, that you must go through life without judgment, without likes or dislikes. This is taking you back to what I was saying about being stoic, or practicing Meneb and Ankh and Ma'at, keeping your heart still to live truth. Because when you go through life and you don't pass judgment against things, and when you understand that nothing has a quality in and of itself, then you get back to the original state of Amen. And then when you go before, when you pass on and you go before the judgment scene, you don't even have to make a pre-life agreement, because what happens let me explain, according to the Bhagavad Gita, okay, the Indian Book of the Dead, we can call it that way, right? The Bhagavad Gita. What happens is that when you die, you lose control of the will. Right now, the will is in control. Our will is Heru, or Horus. And the will is what you have a free will. And your will allows you to ignore your emotions, okay? Because if you didn't have a will, you would be an animal who would act purely upon animalistic instinct, okay? So, but your will keeps things in check. Like it keeps the subconscious mind in check, so that, you know, all these things you have in your shadow self will come out at you, and you just live out your freakish dreams, like, I don't know, being dictator of the world, and having every woman you want, or having every man you want, or having all the money you want, or killing everybody. You know, a lot of people have these type of fantasies, but we're kept in check by the will, all right? Now, the trick is this. When you die, you lose the will. The will becomes incapacitated. And what happens then is everything that you have experienced in life will come back at you in your conscious mind. So Tahuti is a symbolization, or symbolizes the consciousness. You're conscious, because they say when you die, your conscious will judge you, and that's 100% right, because your will is disabled. So you'll start to see all kinds of evil stuff, horrific stuff, and if you have led a life with no judgment and assigning any quality to things, then you won't be afraid of these things that come at you, because you will have assigned no like and dislike to it. You'll be perfectly still. You'll be Amen. You'll be Oser. And if you're perfectly still, and these things that come at you, which are only buried in your shadow self, your subconscious mind, then you will have extended to that role of a sage. So these individuals in New Age movement who tell you that when you pass on and you go before the judgment, don't make a soul contract, they're wrong, because you lose control of your will. So you can't help but not make a soul contract. You will make a soul contract, because when these horrific things come at you, you're going to knee-jerk respond. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see people with the head of donkeys. You're going to see horrific demons and animals, and they're just going to be there to get emotional reaction out of you, to see how well you have spiritually evolved. And if the will is disabled, then you will be just acting based on primitive instinct. You'll be afraid, you'll be terrified, you'll be screaming. Okay, this is what's going to happen. This is and all of these things surmount to what we call as hell. All right. So, but if you've gone through this life and you practice stoicism or meneb, then whatever happens, you're not moved by it. You're like, okay, I understand. This is just part of my karma. Oh, look there. Mass genocide. That's horrible, but I'm not going to react to that. Oh, look at that. My family, they died. I'm upset, but I'm not going to lose it over that. I'm going to be at peace. Then when you pass on and your will is disabled, no matter what horrific vision is thrown your way, you'll be at peace. And Tahuti will say, oh, wow, you passed. So where would you like to go? Would you like to ascend and stay here in the inner planes? Or would you want to be a sage and go back to earth and guide people and help people? Then you can make a decision. But those individuals who are talking about the soul contract don't understand the fact that your will is gone. So you will not be able to control what you desire, what you want, and what you don't want. It's gone. And the best example of this is when you go to sleep and you fall asleep. You ever have nightmares? You have bizarre dreams? You know, because I'm so pretty, I dream of myself all the time and I fall in love, you know, whatever. But anyway, but no, I'm serious. When you fall asleep, you don't control the dream. You are the dreamer who is dreaming of the dream. So when you are in that dream state, you have all kinds of craziness happen to you. You may fall off a building. You may have zombies running after you and you're terrified. You may have your boss slapping you around. You know, you may have Holly Berry stalking you like me, you know, crazy things, you know. But you can't control it, because when you dream, your will is disabled. That is the prep for the afterlife. That's what the Bhagavad Gita talks about. This is why in the Indian religion, when you pass on, they have a guide to help you through all those dark gates. They're called the gates to get through, because every gate has a horrific thing that will happen to you. And if your heart is, if you're still, you'll get through each gate and then you ascend. So again, when you sleep, you lose control of the will and these things hit you. This is why we practice lucid dreaming. The ability to go to sleep and still retain our will and control the dream. This is the practice for the afterlife. This is the practice for the inner planes. And this is what we all should be doing, lucid dreaming. It's very, very interesting state. It's beautiful. It means that you'll be in a dream. You'll know you're dreaming, but you can control and direct the story within the dream. It's awesome. God's favorite daughter. I love that. Yes, you're absolutely right. You're 100% right. Yeah, except in lucid dreams. In lucid dreams, you can control your dreams. Absolutely right. But that's the way you're supposed to do it in the when you die in the inner planes. You're supposed to be able to control that situation through the use of your will. But these guys in the New Age movement have got it backwards, talking about this nonsense about, well, you must not agree to the pre-life agreement. No, duh. I wish we all could do that. But your will, don't you look, God is sophisticated. God set this thing up perfect. So when your will is disabled, I don't care what you remember, like, well, I'm not supposed to make this agreement. That's going to go out the window. And your will, your Sahu nature is going to be enacted. Now, if you've risen beyond Sahu to the Shechem level, then no matter what hits you, you're going to be still. You're going to be at peace. You're going to be in nirvana. You're going to be a sage. You're going to be an honored ancestor. And you'll be able to guide other people. You'll come back to earth and say, you know what? Been there, done that. Let me show you what you need to do to get out of this reincarnation cycle, because it sucks. Every person that done, read the books. There's the book by Sheila Ostringer, Super Learning. She's also done books on the afterlife and the psychic realm. And every scientist who's done legitimate research into this says the same thing. They all come to the same consensus, that those of us who have gone to the inner planes and experienced nirvana don't ever want to come back. We don't want to come back to earth. Every case, 100%, there has not been one person who says, yeah, I wanted to come back to earth. I didn't like nirvana. No. All of them, 100% success rate says, hey, I wanted to stay up there. It was beautiful. You know why? Because that is oneness. You're connecting directly with source. Infinite love and compassion. And in that state, you're able to manifest anything at the instantaneous as a thought, because there's no time and space. Everything exists simultaneously, which you should know that your many lifetimes that you're living all exist now, in this now moment. Everything is happening simultaneously. You're drawing from past lives, which is an incorrect term, because it should say you're drawing from one of your now moment lives, because there is no past, there is no future. I did something about this in my previous video where I talked about the only thing that's real is the eternal now moment. There's no such thing as the past and the future, and most scientists really understand that, who are diving into quantum physics or quantum mechanics, understand and know this to be true, when our ancient ancestors, the shaman and shawomen, already knew this, especially the ancient priestesses, who were some of the first priestesses of the moon cult, knew this, because the first priestesses, the high priest was a priestess, because women are right brain thinkers, and they can easily go into trance state and experience the inner planes. So women were the first priestesses. You feel me? How are my magi's doing? My magicians doing? Great. Oh, wow. Chef Sue, honored ancestor, Chef Sue. These things sound logical, but how do you keep your heart still? Well, watch my previous videos on Stoicism. You don't place judgment or value on anything you experience. You know the all-seeing eye of Osiris? That is a grand metaphor for when you go through life and you don't assign a quality to anything, eventually you step back and you start to observe. You become the observer and you don't become the physical body. It's a wonderful feeling. And that's the symbolism of the all-seeing eye of Osiris, is that you start to be the observer. And you learn not to have an emotional knee-jerk, sahu, animalistic reaction to things that are going on. Some people, they can do it in this lifetime. Some people, it takes them many, many lifetimes to accomplish this. You know what I'm saying? And it's not easy. I'm not going to say like, this is easy to do. Hell, there are major religions built around this one philosophy of not attaching yourself to materialism. And a lot of them get it wrong because what they advocate is giving away all your material objects. No, you should be collecting more objects. I'm not kidding you. You should be collecting more material objects just to test you and say, you know what, I'm going to buy me this Lamborghini. And I'm going to lend it to my crazy ex-girlfriend who always crashes my cars. And I know she's going to crash my Lamborghini. And when she does, I'm going to be at peace. I'm going to test myself. But you don't give away your material objects. You acquire them with the understanding that they do not dictate and control your emotions or your life. You know? The book, the oracle, the I-Ching oracle,
90 seconds
by Wilhelm Baines says that you know, the sage does not attach himself to anything. He takes, and exactly it says this, he takes neither gain nor loss to heart. And that's Ma'at's axiom, you know, and it has caused me many days of anguish because it's a very hard truth to live by. Take neither gain nor loss to heart. Okay. I wanted to take calls and questions if you wanted to call in, but it looks like I'm running short on time. All right. But my next broadcast will I'll definitely take questions if you want to call in. And give me 1 second. Let me see. So I think I have like 5 minutes left. Yeah, I got 5 minutes left. Yeah. Okay. So like I said, less than 5 minutes left actually. So next time I'll take calls, and I can also do readings if you guys want to call in and ask questions about readings. I'm going to just read one question. Oh, God's favorite daughter. Yes, I understand what you're saying, but that's not easy. Okay, so sometimes it happens naturally. You can also set your intentions before going to sleep that you are going to do this and do that. Or yes, but your will is still disabled, so you can try and set your intention before you go to sleep, but that's no guarantee that you're going to have the type of dream you want. So I would really get into lucid dreaming or deal with certain herbs. Certain herbs like GABA, you take 250 milligrams that will make you really relaxed. You could take 3 or 4 tablets, and then you'll automatically go into a lucid dreaming state to where you can control your dream, you know? And once you do that, you can travel through different dimensions and meet different aspects of yourself. And then you can talk with yourself and gain wisdom and knowledge. For example, if you encounter yourself in an alternate dimension that is very wealthy, you can ask yourself, how did he or she acquire that wealth? And then you can take that knowledge back into this parallel world and use that to your benefit. Or you can go and do like I did and travel to other worlds, you know, other planets or other solar systems. It's called GABA, G-A-B-A. It's a amino acid. And you can take that. What it does is really relax the body, relax you, okay? Or you can take a vitamin B complex. It's not as powerful as GABA, but GABA. You can also take L-theanine. L-theanine is really good, all right? So you can explore L-theanine. And that'll give you a nice relaxed state to where you can hopefully retain like a certain percentage of your will. You will not attain 100% of your will, but you may get 60% of your will to where you can control certain aspects of the dream. But you may get lost in the dream. And then, you know, this is what Shakespeare wrote about, A Midsummer Night's Dream. That's really about lucid dreaming. So I just want you guys to know. So one of the books I showed before, these are on accelerated learning and how to go into the trance state. So, okay, so the book is Super Learning by Sheila Ostringer. Okay, and the other one is the Einstein Factor, and they're both really good books. That's if you want to get into accelerated learning. So please hit the like button if you like this broadcast. And again, we have the Osiris report. You can get that. It's a free download. It's back up for those who want it. I would say get it right away before, I don't want to get, hopefully we won't get cyber attacked again, but I talked to my IT guy and we got some really good countermeasures for that. There's also the rape culture report, which is really good. And you can contribute to our Patreon campaign if you can. I would really appreciate it. And I also, my link to my site is there below if you want to get a personal consultation, or if you want to do some hypnotherapy, to where I go in there and help you deal with the conditionings of the shadow self, to get rid of any habits, negative habits, and also do the hypnotherapy. That's how we deal with super learning. Because what I do is I put people in trance, and like, for example, if they want to learn golf, I put them in trance and say that they're an expert golf player, and you'll watch as their strokes, they improve, okay? So I want you to think about that. How can you increase your memory, Suad? By going into an alternate state of consciousness, because memory is Auset. Auset is memory, or Isis is memory. And memory comes from going into a certain level of trance state, not a deep trance state, but a certain level of trance state. And this is going back to super learning, when they went and saw what the Russians were doing to explore accelerated learning. They found that the Russians were putting students into a state of hypnotic trance and then teaching the lessons. And the students would retain 100% memory of the lessons in the trance state, and then accelerated on all of their SAT scores and everything of that nature. Yes, I do work with twin flames and soulmates. So if you're interested in doing that, then you can check out my website for consultations on that. And that, again, is working on either manifesting the right mate or finding out from your past lifetime if you were with the mate, and is it your agreement to hook up with that mate in this lifetime. So anyway, my beloved, all you master magi's, I want to thank you for tuning in today. And like I said, next time, our next broadcast, we will be doing calls where you can call in and ask questions. So until my next broadcast, this is Kasanka Ma Keperu, son of Ma'at and Amun Ra.